We've discussed this. If you can't play the Silverblade Golem, it doesn't matter. Then you're just playing a burn deck. It's not okay.
I love Disastra Heart Onion Sheep.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh. Wow.
Sheepy doesn't care about the love. He's
like,
nervous already.
This guy as bad as possible.
That's right.
Yeah.
Himari, of course, a newer member, I would imagine. I haven't seen his name much. But Sheepy doesn't matter. He's like, look, focus, focus, focus. And almost everything went the way we thought, except for Sheepy banning out the Runecraft deck as opposed to the Forestcraft deck, maybe thinking he can fight through.
I got nervous a little bit because I saw the rune band, and I was about to...
Not the right rune, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Vengeance Blood has continued to show itself as very effective, I feel like.
Yes.
I don't think Vengeance Blood is going to shift very much.
I think Vengeance Blood is really good. I think you have to consider the different options up the curve. As you see, there's no Dark Air Jammers. There's no extra ways to put yourself into Vengeance outside of Belphegor. Is it really that consistent? Things to consider.
Well, I think Soul Dealer is out, right?
Soul Dealer is out, but, I mean, just more self-damaging stuff. Like, everything that you can possibly hit. Maybe they are playing everything. You know what I mean? But every possible thing that you can be doing to put yourself into Vengeance, I think you should be. And, you know, just thinking about that curve. And Grimnir's. I miss Grimnir's in every deck, you know? I really miss it. I'm one of those weirdos, you know? I like the new version, you know, not damaging face is awesome.
Yes.
But Grimnir is still one of the most solid 3-drops you can play. A 3-drop 2/3 ward, especially on the play against an aggressive deck or most decks, they don't really have a good answer to it.
Interestingly enough, it's not too common. I feel like what's Angelic Knight's stat line? 2/3 is? Is it also 2/3?
Angelic Knight is a 2/2 ward.
The 2/2. Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
It's pump something else.
Because I'm trying to think. There's a bunch of other 2/3 cards with pseudo ward on it, right? But none that actually just force you.
Yeah, like this forces an Airbound Barrage out early.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other 2/3 wards. What can you think of?
There's a Forestcraft one.
Treant, Kindly Treant. But
well, Kindly Treant can be. There's an actual just one. There is a 3-play 0.23 ward for Forestcraft.
Is it Demon Child?
Demon Child.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zane. Zan.
Demon Child, Zane. That's right. It's not a very common stat line, but it's a very powerful one.
Very powerful one. And Grimnir has this great competitive play that if the game goes long, we saw what it did.
Today,
yeah, it straight up won a game. In an Igus mirror.
I think it was Sheepy who won off his Grimnir, yeah.
An Igus mirror where he got the second Igus out and won because he had the Grimnir. I'm just saying, guys. Grimnir. Included again. Best friend.
Was it Sheepy?
It might have been Sheepy.
I feel like it was, but I'll have to go back.
I mean, honestly, Haven was pretty much in every player's pool today, so it could have been any of them. I don't remember exactly which one it was at this point.
Yep. Right, Insect Lord comes down. The board control for Forest continues.
That's right, and these options leading up for Havencraft don't feel too good. This is why it's so weird to me not to ban the Forestcraft deck when you have especially the slow Havencraft deck and the slow Runecraft deck. Like, are you really going to beat Forestcraft before they can get you?
I wonder if Himari is going to flood the board here, because I think the Ether is going to pick up in Ancient Lion Spirit, right? If that's the case, or Sheepy's going to feel pretty happy that you spent all your tokens, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And the Evolve is going to skip over that 2 damage.
Making Ancient Lion Spirit just a little bit worse. Mr. Fullmoon showing off that it has more value than, and then only against Igus and Bahamut's and the like.
Yeah. It's not getting rid of the damage, but it is greatly slowing. Interesting.
Getting rid of the 1 damage instead of the 3.
I guess he wanted to make sure he had a card that had enough damage to do it. 4 is definitely tougher to get rid of than 3, but
Makes
damage
sense.
mitigation-wise, it was definitely better to hit the fairy.
And now it's just
I suppose he is setting himself up for the Jean turn as well. Right.
Okay. Yeah, just
knows
keep everything 3 or less.
Yep.
Make it harder to trade into. That makes sense. Plus, you have Tribunals popping on the next 2 turns. This is a nice little flow of turns for Sheepy. Is it going to be enough to propel him into a victory, though, is the question. We don't see a White Wolf yet in hand for Himari. We don't see a Loki either. But that Harvest Festival can start drawing him cards.
Yeah, and really getting into your card draw is very important for Combo Forest. It still is a combo deck, even though its tutors are very powerful. He's got double King Elephant, though.
That's what I was saying. He needs... I don't know. This... Play Mystic Ring, folks.
I suppose... No. White Wolf only does Forest Craft cards, so you can't Loki.
No, it wouldn't be Loki. It would be Elf Queen.
Elf Queen, I think.
More often than not.
Which is...
Yeah, so I think Loki is the best possible draw now. I don't think White Wolf is actually a good option.
Yeah.
You play Loki, you get the elephant down, or you just have to double elephant in the end game. However, this is a matchup where you can actually execute that.
I mean, Elf Queen on 0 is not the worst, right? You can play the elephant and then or the Elf Queen and then the elephant and know that you'll not die on the backswing and then play the second elephant.
Yeah, definitely not bad. Ooh. Winning the lottery on that turn. Doesn't matter anyway. John to come down, kick everybody out of the zoo.
Yep, and bypasses that Brambles as well. And this is tricky, right? You kind of want to... I almost think evolving the John, but I guess you want to save that for your Aegis. But to really think about, like, do you want to force your opponent to evolve a follower that's just going to get taken down by the Tribunal? Yeah. That also stops Elephant evolves.
That's true, but honestly, there's no need to evolve here. No need. And I'm still surprised that Himari hadn't played that Harvest Festival already to just start getting that draw power out, because he doesn't really have a lot of good plays leading up here. He's got like an Aaron into like, you know, following on turn 10 with these elephants, but not much beyond that.
Interesting. I don't think you evolve here.
No. Let your Wood of Brambles at least go this turn to provide you some value.
Pull the Aaron off the festival.
And yeah, honestly, I just don't know how Aegis can smack 2 times before these King Elephants are just going to do their work, you know?
Yep. There is no way to stop the King Elephants. I mean, the only way is if you play the Aegis on curve.
That's it. But without it being in hand, I mean, I guess Fall from Grace does help a little bit, but not really. I don't think there's a big enough jump there with the drain to actually get around 2 elephants.
Being at 12 health too is just not
so low.
Not great. Evolution Orb in hand.
Stop it.
It's going for the aggro plan now. Filling up his board, also going into turn 10, is a little awkward.
Evolve face. Yeah, this is looking real bad. The Forest Craft late game is just so powerful, I think.
Yeah. Again, very weird to not see it banned in this matchup.
Especially, you know, in this case for Sheepy, where you don't actually have a Heavenly Knight. Okay. And this prevents... I guess it maintains Full Moon's stat line. Turn 9 doesn't have any possibility for Elephant. Your Cassiopeia is only going to do 6.
I mean, I don't even think it matters. I think it's just Aaron, push face for another 3 damage, and then Elephant on the following turn. I think that's that. You can go back up to 7 with one of the transforms, but that's about it.
Big thing is with Fall from Grace, oh, he doesn't have the board space, even if you were to Dark John or something like that.
Wow, I am super surprised that damage didn't go face. I guess it doesn't matter because you have the Evolution Orb, and you just lock the board so you know you can't lose.
Yeah,
I guess
there's no way to drain.
Different way to do it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no way to drain.
Yeah.
It would have been a good play to, you know, double Fall from Grace and drain up.
But
I don't think he would have gained enough health either way.
In any case, I mean, this is a game where Himari actually did play to the board correctly, I believe, and just was like, look, you have no chance. You can't even play your Aegis. You could, even if you had Heavenly Knight in your deck, you couldn't play it.
Yeah.
And then I've just got the one on the following turn.
Yeah, there it is. Control Haven. I do think it lacks some tools against Forest. You know, it just... What else could you expect to draw?
When you're not playing Heavenly Knight in your deck, I don't think you can end the game fast enough against Forest to beat any of their endgame plans. I just think it's too hard.
And especially with things like Harvest Festival coming in, double guaranteeing that by the time you hit the play points you need, you have some semblance of whatever it is you're going to end the game with.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, Sheepy.
Perhaps having a more dominating board at the start, if you had your Gemstone Carapaces at the start, that might change things, right? Because Sheepy took actually a lot of face damage and was losing the board even though he was on the play.
Of course.
Which is not, that's not a winning, you know, proposition.
And honestly, this burn, you know, control version of Runecraft, I mean, it can do well against Vengeance Blood. I mean, it's got a lot of burn. That is how you can beat and win around Vengeance. But is it also too slow? That's the fear I have for Sheepy with his decks. Are they all just too slow with the Forestcraft being banned out with the only real like healing that he has access to?
Yeah, Mysteria did not want to leave.
No.
I'm gonna stay. Yeah. On second thought.
Animated too. Sheepy was pulling some packs for that card.
Yeah. And Himari is thinking very carefully about his mulligan, and I think it's important, right? You want to make sure you have the early game that's going to give you success.
I think, honestly, if I'm Himari, I keep the Belphegor, yep, all the other two. Try to get a better curve leading up to it. Because, again, this is a burn Runecraft deck, but it's slower. I think you have to just execute your own game plan.
Yeah. It really seems like the kind of deck that ramps up after turn 5, turn 6.
Whereas old burn Runecraft was, I say old, but other burn Runecraft is trying to kill you.
Like
by
1
turn
through 6.
5 or 6,
yeah.
yeah.
Sheepy thinking about the matchup very carefully here. Well, also eating something. I wonder if it's delicious.
Probably pudding.
You think so?
No, he's chewing.
Oh.
Unless it's old pudding.
Pudding. He's putting some thought into his turn.
That's right. Great wordplay. Yeah, and I think this is a straightforward curve. I would probably go with the Urias here. Save those Lyrials. This is probably the turn that you can get the most damage out of Urias anyway, getting it down on turn 2.
Dwarf Alchemist. Ping for 1. Alchemist can't even trade up against the Urias.
All right, well, see, very straightforward game plan. Lyrial into Belphegor and... or bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a situation here where you have the Magic Missile, but I'm not sure if you want to spend the Magic Missile. The Carl is good.
Yeah, installing Carl is great early in the game, especially because you have the Telescope already in hand. You already have the other Earth Essence. This kind of requires an answer, right? Otherwise, it's just going to heal back a lot of the damage that Himari has already done.
Wow, that Savage Wolf in hand.
Is this going to be another day where loser comes from behind and just sweeps?
It could entirely be. I mean, I wonder if Sheepy would be willing to face off against a Runecraft deck, you know, on the go round if it does come to the reset, right?
Yeah, I think the way the games have been playing out in the matchups, I think again, like we talked about earlier, you just have to ban the Forestcraft deck. But Sheepy still has a chance to win this match. He's just got to get through Vengeance Blood twice.
Yeah. Belphegor is going to be the choice. This is going to activate Vengeance and draw cards.
Ooh.
Gets the Dark General off the top and another Savage Wolf too.
Pretty good redraw.
That might just be a little bit too much for this Runecraft deck that does not provide yourself a lot of defensive options. You need to fight for board now in a very significant way.
Yep. Halo Golem is a great option here, though. It is a card that can kill the Urias before you take any damage from the ping, and you can evolve it right over the Belphegor. And then that basically says Carl gets saved for another turn to add more healing. I think this is a great curve for Sheepy as well.
Mm. I definitely think that's the opportunity that Sheepy wants to take. He needs to figure out some way to preserve. I think Carls are very important now. In any opportunity you can, you already have the turn 5 Mysteria play.
Mm-hmm. And you've already seen a Lyrial if you're Sheepy, so what are the chances they have a second Lyrial? I mean, they always have it, right? But you know, he doesn't know that. So playing the Halo Golem play makes the most sense in my mind with the known information. Oh, he goes face.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Favoring. I'm just getting in there. I've got burn in my hand. I like
it because he has the burn.
Yeah.
Be kept pure.
Now, if Himari doesn't go on emergency mode.
Right.
Wow, my brain was so fixated on the fact that the double Savage Wolf was coming down the pipeline.
But you're playing Burn Runecraft. Your opponent just put themselves to 10. Maybe it's just time to turn on the gas.
And it's too easy, right? On the next turn, Magic Missile, Piercing Rune, you're done.
Yeah. And there's no healing. Well, there is. There's a Sabrewer hiding behind. Okay.
Still, this is just a bad spot. I mean, you have to trade board when you want to be doing face damage, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be able to do 4 here, and what range does that put Sheepy in? Can Himari win the turn if there's something like the Mysteria play?
Well, yeah, just imagine Mysteria next turn. Mysteria evolve over the Belphegor.
If you take 4, then you're at 6. So that means there's 4, 8, 11. No, it's lethal with the Dark Journal and the Breezery Claw.
That's right.
So you can't do that. I think you just commit the Piercing Rune now. Mysteria Evolve. And then, what is max damage? Double Savage Wolf is going to be, no. So it's got to be Dark Journal and Razor Claw's max damage here. Oh, he just...
No, he put his opponent at 2, so that turns off Razor Claw as an option.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Always something to consider against these Bloodcraft decks, guys. If you can get them to 2, do it.
So he has Ward, but that's not going to help.
Not against Burn.
Does he have the play points? He's going to be at 6, so he can't do Mysteria and Magic Missile.
Doesn't need to. Has the Halo Golem in hand.
Golem. Oh, yeah, that's going to do 3?
Yeah.
Wow. That was way closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah. So close within 2 defense. But Sheepy barely managed to eke that one out with stellar play.
Yeah.
Stellar play.
Really, yeah. And maximizing the face damage there on that turn was super important because now you see they're both at 2 health and the Halo Golem can close things out.
All right. Now.
Okay. Well, no Silver Blade Golem, but this is still kind of really focused around how you're going to burn your opponent out. And it's not based around, I think this is the biggest thing. Like, I'm not sure how many copies of something like Magic Illusionist is being played. There's no Mage of Nightfall. Right. And so the early turns are really much more oriented around kind of the alchemists finding the Earth Rights for the future.
Card advantage cards. Magic Missiles to maybe draw cards. Carl for some life gain.
Which that life gain,
I mean, yeah.
Winning by 2 health.
Yeah.
Is...
Every little point matters in matchups that come down that close.
Yeah. Also, the downside of something like Razor Claw, right? Shutting it off was the biggest thing that Sheepy could have done there.
That's right. And Sheepy, if he wins this week, I'm pretty sure he can change that flare from top 12 on over to that weekly champion flare.
Yeah, weekly champion. Sheepy is playing well today.
He is.
I think his careful thinking is paying off for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're playing these tough matchups where you literally have to consider a match that's going to come down to within just a couple, defense on any given turn, you're just like, okay, every turn. What can my opponent possibly do? How do I play around it?
Yeah. It was really well played by Sheepy, but Himari is still, one game. He won the game with his Forest Craft deck, so now Sheepy has to play again with his Control Haven.
And Bloodcraft got a 1-drop.
Yeah.
That's huge. You might not think that's huge, but again, think about last game in context. 1-drop would have meant 2 extra damage that game at least.
Yeah. Having the 1-drop is going to be Very important, and especially with Sheepy not being able to play a turn 2 either.
Mm-hmm. Pretty rough.
Oh, and the Urias.
And Light John is not Grimnir when you're on the draw.
Mm-hmm.
Grimnir would be much better here. These Fall from Graces have been looking rather unstellar too, like just like we talked about. A little overtech for the day, not being able to put to great use yet.
And it's interesting too, right? On this turn, I mean, you can... There's not... I guess Tribunal would be great. There are worlds... There is a world where you swing in with the Jean and then Fall from Grace and then swing again, right? So you can extend Jean's power to 3.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Sheepy's going to get that option, though. I think that Blood Drinker's brand is just going to slap right down on that Jean. I don't think there's a better play for Himari here. I think he's considering whether to Razor Claw face or not. Yeah.
It is interesting to think about spending Razor Claw early, because again, in Vengeance Blood fashion, damage above 10 health sometimes is just going to be damage that's going to happen anyways, so you're kind of mitigating against it by spending it before you get to that Vengeance phase.
That's right, and Sheepy winning the 50-50 there. It's a slight 50-50, but it's noticeable.
Yeah. Every point of health matters.
Means that his Priest of the Cudgel that comes down next turn won't damage him.
I think it's definitely a trap to play the Dark General here, no matter how tempting it may be.
Yeah, I think this is Razor Claw Evo face. Get your Goblin outside of range of being banished immediately. And unfortunately, yeah, like, Vengeance Blood just looks so weird now without drawing Belphegor. It just looks so clunky.
Yeah. I feel like that's the case for a lot of the decks, kind of their early game. There's not a lot of good card draw option outside of something like Pure-Hearted Singer, you know?
And he's going to set himself up perfectly for a Priest.
Yeah. Here it is, Priest of the Cudgel. Evolve is going to get the Banish. But this is still so back and forth, right? Sheepy still has taken a significant amount of damage, and healing on the side of Havencraft has been...
How much testing do you think these guys do against each other? So Himari, not a name we've seen a lot. Sheepy, a name we have seen a lot. How much do you think they've actually tested these styles against each other?
That's a good question. They are from the same country.
Yeah, same country.
Yeah.
Same team.
Yeah.
You know, similar play styles. They both wear glasses. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, they're almost the same people.
Almost the same people. How much do they play against each other in these matchups, though? I imagine that's where you come to all of your tech decisions, right? Like, how do I beat all these different matchups? It's interesting to think about.
Ooh. Sabura has pickings for what she wants to take down. Or you could go for face damage.
I think at this point it is just face. I think this is just Savage Wolf. I would even evolve the Sabuar here. And then you get to play Angel of the Word for another face, so that way you prevent the, or you give the biggest gamble to the Tribunal.
What's going to happen? Turn 7 is coming up next. If you can...
Oh, that's right. Turn 7 is coming up. So that begs the question to evolve the Savage Wolf instead, actually.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, what is the swing for Sheepy? It's John, right?
Right.
Yeah, if he evolves a Savage Wolf, then it'll be above 3. Interesting. Okay.
All right, there's another way to play it.
And even if you evolve the Angel of the Word and try to trade into the Ether, you're still going to get taken down by the John's Enhance.
With Tribunal,
but if you
this
don't
makes it a
take
little
down
harder.
the Ether, then Ether can go into Sabura and give the good trade. Well, I guess the Tribunal might just tag it anyways.
Yep.
Oh.
Easy business.
When should I ever doubt that?
Easy business.
Do you draw?
I don't know. I think this might be finally an opening for... Okay, I was going to say for the Angel to come down and start draining,
You
but...
swing, and then you fall from grace, and then you drain.
Yep, evolve, drain.
I actually think that might be a really high value play.
Ooh, finally a Carabosh drawn on the Vengeance Blood side. That might just be the option.
It's definitely going to give him a breath of fresh air, and there's still so much damage in hand.
I really like this.
I think the Carabosh is the way to go.
Easy play.
Stay beautiful.
Yep.
You can even evo this over the judge if you want to. Don't need to.
I don't think you... Okay. I feel like saving them for the Savage Evo and then the Emeralda Evo. But respecting Sheepy's potential for a backswing here. Gonna draw, nice, as expected, of course.
I'll tell you what, though. These late turns where you globe into globe into globe, and you're just like, I can't fill up my board. Fall from Grace actually does get you kind of out of that situation, which is kind of cool.
Yep. And Fall from Grace still can be played, right?
Just not gonna do it.
Yep.
I'm so sad. I want to see this used offensively.
Yes, I want to see it as well. Himari now is gonna be able to dump damage. So if he plays Savage Wolf, Razor Claw, Evolve, that's 2, 4, 7, 8. That's 2 away from lethal.
I would just go for it. And then, and then you're just going to draw an extra card. Basically, you've got inevitability. Your opponent has to keep up with the Caraboss ticks, and you can just keep emptying your hand out every turn. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to take 19 damage from an Aegis deck, you know what I mean, over the course of the next couple turns. Well, maybe you actually just do take 20 damage. We are getting into turn 9, but...
In this particular match, it's really showing the difference between a control Aegis Haven list versus the Summon Temple.
That's right.
And Himari is about to reset the bracket, which is going to put us in yet again a situation where a player's going to come from losers and win.
Maybe.
And I swear it's difficult. I swear.
It's so hard. You have to win really high-intensity games, match after match, against an opponent that hasn't lost all day. You know what I mean? Like, forget their deck archetypes. They've been playing against all these people and haven't lost yet. You have to beat them twice.
Yeah.
You have to defeat the only undefeated player 2 times in a row in the last round of the tournament in order to get that spot, and it's been happening. It's crazy.
A very conservative play here. And it's just, it almost looks like Himari can do no wrong.
Right. After the Caraboss hit, it's just really tough. I mean, if you're in Sheepy's position, it's just like you're always counting over 1, even if you wipe the board. He's drawing extra cards.
The sky is with you.
Going for the Taurus play here.
Yeah.
Turn to dust.
Gonna be able to get rid of 2 cards here and develop the ward.
Yeah, very good option.
But as we know, Emeralda is gonna be able to blow through that ward, and the Razor Claw is going to be able to finish things out, especially with one of these 2 damage followers here.
No Vengeance.
Oh, that's right. He's not a Vengeance.
For Himari here.
Oh.
That'll do it, though. Double Razor Claw plus the Caraboss will do it.
Yeah.
Himari knows he cheated with that one.
So Himari is going to reset the bracket here, and he might steal this title from Sheepy. I know we talked about how Sheepy would be very favored to kind of take first place in this tournament, especially if he was coming in on winner's side. But Himari is putting him to the test.
If
the big
Sheepy does not ban Forestcraft in this final match, I think that Himari has a huge leg up based on what we just saw.
The big question is, does it get any better if Sheepy plays against Rune, which I'm kind of assuming is Daria, but we haven't actually seen the Runecraft deck from Himari all day today.
That's true. I would assume if it's getting banned a lot that it is Daria. I think Daria is still hard to deal with, right? But it doesn't have inevitability. It still has to get good draws.
Yeah.
Forestcraft has inevitability versus both of his late game decks. It will just beat you eventually.
Yeah.
Daria has to get a decent hand. It has to develop. It has to get there. You know what I mean? It actually has to play a game to win.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. So, Sheepy back to the wall. Himari is on the verge, I mean, in the trajectory of taking the first place title and stealing it from under Sheepy's feet.
Yeah.
I think this would be big for Sheepy, right? I think he's a very high-level player and probably the one that's falling closely behind the footsteps of a player like Fatina and Akamaru Red.
Right.
We see this commonly in the Shadowverse Open as well, where Sheepy is, you know, I think in the early stages of round robin he struggled, but when it came time for the playoffs, you know, Sheepy was able to play quite well. And the question to me is, can he convert that into doing things like winning tournaments? You know?
Well, I think so. So this type of open bracket, like depending on how the meta shifts from week to week, really favors players who know how to grind. And what I mean by that is they play late game decks. They know how to answer every option in the format, right? and they know what their game plan is going into every one of these late game turns, right? Now, the counter to that is if your decks are just that slow and somebody's playing a combo deck, such as these Forestcraft decks, that just get around everything you can possibly do, right? Like, you cannot do anything about a King Elephant in this game. Ward will not save you. Being at 20 will not save you. You have to end the game before that.
You have to use Nisha.
Or Nisha, that's right. Nisha is an answer. So you have to play that in your deck if you want to get around it.
And I don't think he is.
I don't think he is.
And I think that is kind of an interesting card to exclude, right?
Yeah, it is.
With the possibility of tilting at windmills. I know people were somewhat aware. I mean, the White Wolf Elephant deck was played early on in Chronogenesis, and it's kind of been around, right? It's not like this deck is coming out of nowhere, but it certainly hasn't had this success in tournament play, so I can kind of understand if you're like, I don't know if anybody's going to bring White Wolf Elephant, but it still exists with the addition of tilting.
I mean, other Disaster members are bringing it, so it had to be on Sheepy's radar. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
right.
They know that it's in at least the gauntlet, as we like to call it. If you're on a team and you build every single one of the staple decks in the format and you play them all against each other, that's the gauntlet, and that's how you decide which one is the best out of those. And then you decide what people are going to be playing that week. You play test every single deck you can come up with against the gauntlet of the 3 best decks, and you pick your three favorite decks to beat that gauntlet, essentially, and then you just take that to the tournament. I think Sheepy's well aware of this.
Yeah.
And I think that not including Nisha is maybe an oversight, and maybe too heavily, like we said, accounting for these tilting at Windmills Dragon decks.
Well, we just got word in, and it looks like both players are banning Forest.
Okay.
So
good.
The game is afoot.
The game is afoot. That means no cheater wins anymore. Okay.
No cheater wins.
No cheater wins.
Cheater wins are already here.
Well, there might be a cheater win with with Silverblade Golem. There might be a cheater win. That might be the only one, but that's the best win. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's when you cheat the game. You're not cheating the opponent. You're cheating the game. You're just like, I did something that no other player did at the top end of a tournament.
I don't know about that. I think it's still very fair if Forest wins.
I mean, Forest is going to win. It's in both of the winning, deck lists. So,
we'll
get there. But they both got banned because it's too strong.
Yeah, it is very strong right now, at least in the space that these players are competing in. So here we go. Gonna start out with Rune versus the Control Haven list. And I wonder if we'll see what Sheepy was nervous about here.
The other cool thing, and this is a very small point, right? Because Daria is not the hardest deck in the world to play, but it's a lot harder than it used to be. Before, it was just literally you just on curve do everything you possibly can. Now you have to think with Daria a little bit more. What I'm saying by that is that Himari hasn't had to play it in any of these stressful game situations leading all the way up into the finals. Maybe he makes that one mistake that costs him a game with it. You know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting, and Daria's all about the draws, right? Having the Chain Lightning, by the way, in this scenario is, I mean, I guess I saw Enchanted Blades. It looks, he has the Magic Owl, so it's definitely Daria.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got everything that we've seen before. He's got the one of Silent Lab, probably the one of Chain Lightning is like weird tech cards, to work with concentration and be late game burn. I still don't know if I like all those techie things, but, it did bring Himari to the finals, so can't shoot him down.
I mean, you're probably going to play Silent Laboratory here because it doesn't look like there's much else to play.
Right.
The Insight just drew an Insight. That's good.
No spell boosting to be had. And I think the early game for Sheepy here is much better than the early game for Himari. By far.
Yeah. It can get pretty cloggy if this continues for Himari.
Yep. Now, this hand, concentration would be sweet to draw.
Yeah.
Because this hand looks awful.
Yeah, you really want to make sure you're hitting good options here very soon. Mysterious Knowledges with Darias and Chimeras. And even if he does get the Daria, right, there's no other followers to boost alongside that. You're really relying on that Daria to pull 5 cards that are impactful.
That's right. And I think there's a couple different lines you can go this turn if you're Sheepy. I think this is the more dangerous one. He could have gone with the Black Inscription and Globe to maybe pull a Tribunal, like an extra one for next turn, or to get another Gemstone Carapace just to have another good play next turn. But this is just fine. Similar situation, being on the play with Grimnir. This stops an attack.
So Himari's hands is shaping up a little bit here. I think Chain Lightning is just such a dead card in this scenario, right? You're never gonna get it back, and so it's basically just 5 play point 3 damage spell. And Bird is not really your game plan here. You need to be focusing on controlling a board, right? So it's like it's just gonna stay there until Daria banishes it.
Right.
It's not a spell that you want to spell boost. 5 play points for 1 boost is really not good.
Mm-hmm. Now, interesting that he's choosing to fill up the board with the globes here. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
They're hard. They're hard to play around when you stick them in play. This is what I was kind of talking about. I feel like this is now finally a perfect opportunity, all things considered, for a top deck transform.
Mm-hmm.
One of these globes. Get out of here. Give me something more beneficial.
Yeah. Magic Owl going to be played here. Evolve is going to push the ball forward for the Ogler as well as the Chimera. And the Enchanted Blade is going to get cheaper here.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's no big swing. I mean, all things considered, once Himari drops those cards, that's it.
That. Yeah. I think the curve is looking really nice for Sheepy. He's got board control. He's got card draw. He's got another turtle coming out, followed by another turtle coming out.
Oh, boy. Black Inscription can make sure that Owl does not come back for a swing here.
Yep, which means this will probably go face.
And this also pushes the turtle out of Piercing Rune range.
Mm-hmm. Really like this play from Sheepy.
Yeah, this is
how
the
you get
early game that
aggressive.
we're talking about, right? When I mentioned, you know, in that game that Sheepy lost in the previous match, his early game had no Gemstone Carapaces, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just such a difference. It's such a strong early game card.
I want to say win percentage of Havencraft is not necessarily tied to Gemstone Carapace, but I guarantee you it is very
Impact.
Yeah, like if you get 2 to 3 Carapaces in your early turns, especially with the Princess, I think it just pushes the game like overboard for like the first couple turns, and you can finally get to your end game. I think it works a little better in the Heavenly Knight version, but it definitely does a lot of work getting you to the later turns for Aegis as well.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. And so Sheepy is pretty much on an aggressive line here.
Yep. Another Owl drawn is good. This will help him play out the rest of his hand, but again, his hand is all he has. He doesn't have any card draw here, doesn't have a Daria. This is exactly what I was talking about. Daria has to play. It doesn't have the inevitability.
Yeah. And what really are the options here? If he Owl evolves, that means Ogler becomes free, and he can play the Piercing Rune, which will make the Enchanted Blade free.
Wow.
Which means that he might be able to play... No, the Chimera is still going to be out of reach. Doesn't even play the Magic Owl.
Just wants to get the 5-cost spell out of hand. Save the Magic Owl for a better turn here.
Okay.
And this is going to set up perfectly for a judge.
Wow. Man. He's going to draw a card here. We'll see what it will be. Princess Snow White.
Okay.
Not super impactful at this stage in the game, but still kind of helpful.
This is feeling so rough for Himari. The longer he goes without getting any card draw here, specifically Daria, concentration could help, but without getting a Daria specifically, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to push hard enough for Sheepy to care.
And remember, guys, this is the grand finals. This is the last match. Whoever wins this, there's no second chances now.
That's right. The bracket has been reset. As you can see, the winner-losers brackets around their name are gone. This is just the final finals.
And Sheepy is in this situation where, I mean, the instant Himari commits with all of his cards, he's just living off the top.
Yep.
It's very, very different. You know, once Daria comes in and there are no spells in hand, it's just dead.
Yep. And the big thing is that this, I guess, Havencraft deck does have inevitability. So Himari can't just sit and wait and play the control game against this deck, because I guess will eventually come down and just end the game.
So he's going to be able to flood quite a few here. Enchanted Sword, the Piercing Rune, even the Conjure Golem here. And this is kind of that line that I was talking about. Now your entire hand is committed. It's going to feel really bad if a Spell Boost card pops up next.
All right, and there is the option.
John is so good here.
Yeah. John is great. And he's going to draw a ton of cards.
Oh, man.
And a Curate.
Oh, man. I feel like that just shut the door.
Yeah. Full hand, Curate in hand.
I wouldn't even worry about evolving.
I think you just do. I think you actually just shut the door. Don't let the extra 4 damage hit you in the face. Your opponent's at 1 card.
Yeah.
Just slam it slam it shut.
Yeah. What's it gonna be? Okay, the insight loses the ability to spell boost off that, and this is exactly how bad it feels, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, even at this point, if a Daria is drawn off the top, is it ever really going to be able to out-tempo whatever play Sheepy can do?
It's a skip turn on 8, probably a skip turn on 9, right?
Oh, easy.
Wow.
Easy.
Yeah.
And he's got the Aegis on curve. Yeah, this game is over.
Yep. Wow.
And this is exactly it. Imagine if Forestcraft was playing against Havencraft right now. Forestcraft would have just been like, oh, man, Havencraft can't really do anything about this right now, and we're going to see him lose in about 2 turns here. Had to play against Daria. Daria didn't find Daria.
A full pass turn. Aegis down. Has a Taurus in play already. An Enchanted Blade in hand is not even playable.
No, can't even do anything with it.
And this is probably one of the hardest bricks we've seen so far.
Literally the hardest brick we've seen a Daria deck go through. Without a single Daria, without a single concentration, nothing happening.
The sky is with you.
What? And Sheepy just for the giggles.
BMing a little bit.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They're
There it
teammates.
is.
I'll allow it.
The enigma.
Quite the enigma, he says. There it is.
Impressive.
All
Sheepy
right.
loves messing around at the end, but he's not out of the clear yet. Now he has to prove that this Mysteria deck can do 3 matches in a row. I think it's very likely.
This
I
is
think
a
it's
perfect
very,
story.
very likely that at least you get the spells to burn one of the decks out, right?
Yeah, well, we saw him already beat the Vengeance Blood deck with this deck. I need to see Silverblade Golem actually hit the table. He's had so many chances. This is the best story for it. He's got 2 more chances to win this tournament with this deck.
Yeah.
Can he do it?
And honestly, I think that Mysteria might be. I think it's gonna have trouble clearing the board on turns leading up to turn 5, but on turn 6, I think it's very real that Mysteria can handle Dario boards given the right cards in hand.
So here's a question for you. Why the one of Stella?
I don't know.
He's not playing Abomination or anything that needs extra cards in hand or anything like that. Doesn't put sigils into your hand.
Maybe he just likes the flavor of the card. Maybe this is entirely a deck where Sheepy's like, I'm gonna play all the cards I love.
That's fair. I mean, that's what happened yesterday.
I like Mysteria.
Yeah.
I like Silverblade Golem.
And he kept that over the other 2 options.
Wow.
Wow. Into
Well,
a
he's
deck
got a
running
curve.
magic missiles. I can't agree with that play. How do you throw back the Dwarven Alchemist and keep the Stella against the magic missile deck? Come on. Come on, Sheepy.
He's gonna pull the one thing that he needs from Estella to win this game. It's gonna be a card that lasts
hope
for
so.
5 turns.
I hope it's Star Phoenix and it literally just takes over the entire game. I really do.
It probably is because of Star Phoenix. Talk about controlling the board, right?
And this is a perfect deck for it. I mean, you're playing tons of spells.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you kept it. You kept it, Sheepy. You're playing it. Come on, brother. Himari, though, this time does have a Daria in his opening hand, so a much better start than he had last time.
Yes.
Has a Magic Missile to filter, a Mysterian Missile to filter, Piercing Rune. Everything looks a lot better this time around.
I think this is a good balance, right? You have spells. You had the Mysterian Knowledge to kick things off. You have both an Ogler and a Daria. The only thing that could make this a sad time is if in the next 3 turns you draw some real bad things.
Yeah. And Sheepy just considering, okay, what are the best options? What, if Stella draws this, what are my plays? If Stella draws this, what are my plays? And I think that's what he's considering right now.
Either way, Stella's only going to get 1 opportunity, and he passes.
What the deuce? Throws back 2 other 2-drops, keeps Stella, doesn't play it on 2. Now I'm thoroughly confused.
I cannot imagine. This must mean that Stella has a purpose further on into the game.
I guess. Maybe he just wants... I mean, he knows the Mysterian Missile's in hand, so maybe he just didn't want to give it away that turn, I guess, and spell boost for his opponent. But I don't know. I don't know. We're just going to pretend like I didn't see that because that's going to make my logical brain just go crazy.
All right, drawing more cards here. What is interesting is whether he plays the sigils or not, especially with Silverblade Golem at the end, is It's all going to be used.
Yeah, it's
right?
all good. I mean, getting him in play is obviously better because then you open up the options for the Professor of Taboos, the Halo Golems, and things like that. But yeah, keeping him in hand isn't as bad in this deck as it would be in Burn Runecraft because you're not Wizardess of Ozing. You don't really need to empty your hand or anything like that.
There's a Silent Laboratory. I mean, do you just play all your sigils? Like, what is it?
Yeah, I don't see... I mean, like, you don't have to play all the telescopes, but at least get some information for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now you hold. There's the Stella.
Nice. And he still has one draw if he opts to do so. But gonna go face.
Same card as last time.
Yeah. Yeah. Pollux.
Pollux.
Yeah. Make sure the soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you go to the doctor to get checked on, is Pollux?
Is that?
I
don't know.
It's close.
Yeah, and this is, you know, as you notice, this was a Swordcraft card, right? Intended for neutral sword.
That's right.
But evidently, if Stella brings it to you, it is the easiest thing in the world to have its effect go off.
Absolutely.
And good clear here is going to prevent that Pollux from getting the free evolve. Oh no, he went face. Still.
I mean, I like it. It's a solid player. I think getting the Mysteria out's a little bit more important, though.
Yep. I think either way, you can only take one card with one card.
Right. I guess you do get the free evolve on the Pollux, and that does help this turn. Okay.
You know, I honestly still think the Mysteria, right? Because then everything four and below is something that Levi can blow through.
That's right. Well, it only increases burn spells, or does it all damage you deal? It's just burn spells, I think.
I think it's anti-spell damage. I don't know. We'll have to see. That's a good question. Your spells.
Spells, right. So yeah, Master Mage Levi wouldn't get introduced, or up by that. I didn't think it would. That'd be crazy.
That would be very good.
All right, and Himari, you know, he's just got to decide when he wants to pull the trigger. Again, the longer he waits, and we've talked about this before, the more chances for more Darius, like we see in his hand already, come to be. So he's got to want to pull that trigger fastest. Enchanted Sword isn't the best card in his hand at the moment. The Ogler, of course, you never really like throwing away Oglers, but
he's gonna have a skip turn if he wants to utilize all these cards. They're not getting any cheaper, right? I guess the Enchanted Blade will get the other cards cheaper, but okay.
Decides the Ogler is good enough.
He's going to open up this turn for the Mysteria. And this is going to be a big turn now for Himari. These Darias are basically triggering the next 2 or 3 turns. I think Himari has to look to win within that time frame.
Yep. I mean, he already has Sheepy down to 11. You definitely don't want a concentration here. It's like the last thing you want to do. I mean, unless you really want to play this control endgame and just forget about Daria chaining. And I don't think you want to do that. I don't think you have the time to do that.
Yeah.
This, I don't know. This is looking rough in my mind for Himari. Even if he gets a really good redraw off this Daria, I mean, he's playing against a Master Mage Levy. There's just so much removal in the hand of Sheepy at the moment. That's about as good as it gets, though. That's insane.
That's a really good draw. He's going to be able to Insight as well, and then probably Enchanted Blade. Well, I guess you would want to play the Blade Mage first, which is fine because it's already going to be at 0 cost. Actually, you can play everything in hand.
Yeah.
And then Concentration on top of it. I think he's thinking about whether he wants to actually commit his hand to that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, I mean, every Insight makes it easier.
Yeah.
This is a great redraw. Didn't get the third Daria, but got a very good hand to push damage this turn. However, with that Master Mage Levi sitting in the wings, pretty rough.
The defense values are going to be quite high.
It won't be long now.
So this Daria will be destroyed. There's no more evolution orbs. There's no play points to play alongside that. So if Ogler and Blade Mage remain, that's lethal. And I think the Master Mage is not going to be good enough to close it out.
Well, it'll take care of 2 of the followers. It'll leave possibly the Ogler, or actually the Ogler, because it's the lowest damage follower. Okay, he's opting to do it this way.
Yeah.
The Rite of Exorcism, if it gets reduced to 3, can't actually take anything out, so he's doing it this way instead of committing the Master Mage Levy. Very interesting.
And in this scenario, I mean, your Master Mage Levy is still not going to be enough to take down.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
Well, maybe it was good to hold. Now he's got an answer to this next board that comes out.
But if he evolves the Ogler over the course of 2 turns, he just wins, right?
It's true. It's interesting to me that Himari's going for card draw here instead of filling up the board to try to eke out a win. Again, the longer he gives Sheepy, I think the more options Sheepy has to just take the game back.
Yeah.
This really comes back to me to just the very second turn of the game. Had Sheepy just had a 2-drop in the form of Dwarf Alchemist as opposed to just not playing that Stella, I think he would have been just that much more ahead right now and just not be scared.
Wow, Piercing Rune off the top is great, but...
Holy magic is safe. Gaze into the light.
Next,
Pollux, and that's going to reduce the cost of Piercing Rune. This
Still
is
a risky
so
play, though.
Close.
Still a risky play.
What off the top could end it here?
I mean, in hand.
Oh, man!
Yeah, Piercing Rune does it for sure. I mean, Mysterian Knowledge in hand could have turned into a Mysterian Missile to end the game as well.
Yeah. There it is. Himari will close it out, and that Daria did land on a big boosting hand.
Yeah, that was a really good hand, and I think Sheepy played way too timidly that game. Pretty much all the way up the curve. He's just like, I'm going to do a little bit of this, and just Daria just kept pushing enough damage to where it just, you know, it was too much.
Yeah. Interesting. The Star Reader Stella ended up giving Sheepy the Pollux, which he wasn't able to use until the end when it was too late.
And it also prevented him from actually wanting to play the 2-drop to possibly give a spell boost in the form of Magic Missile or Mysterian Missile on the second turn for Himari.
Now, in this matchup, I feel like I could see playing the Stella again, right? And this is probably the actual appropriate match to play the Stella in.
I don't know.
Going second is going to be pretty tough, especially because we know that Himari plays Angel of the Word.
All right, this is a deck I think you probably still keep, which is Cauldron. I think Rite of Exorcism is at its best versus decks that try to cheat the curve. What I mean by that, like cards like Spiderweb Imp, you can actually destroy with Rite of Exorcism without putting too much effort into it.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the last game of the finals. Bracket reset. Himari has a chance.
We still have yet to see the Silver Blade Golem drop.
That's right. And to be honest, we're getting really into the mind of Sheepy with this deck, right? This is a deck that he built, and he's playing definitely not a way that you would expect someone to play this deck, right? It's not playing it very straightforward burn rune fashion. He's kind of doing his own thing with it, and I like it. Some of it doesn't make sense to me, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah. Got good draw here with the Telescope.
I think this is one of the best 1-2 punches for any rune deck right now. Honestly speaking, playing Telescope and Witch's Cauldron is just so much card draw.
Yes. Okay. And this is going to be good because Halo Golem is going to be very usable. He's got the Rite of Exorcism.
He's got a Carl for 3. Everything looking good so far.
Carl's going to come down, and the zombie can help trade board a little bit, probably going into the Lyrial.
Ooh, another Carl too. Feels good.
Finally a break.
Yeah.
This could just be a Rite of Exorcism, actually. Yeah, hold the Carls for later, for Evo turns.
On later turns, if Carl comes down, you could combo him with more sigils to get more healing, but I think as it stands, it's just
still a good threat here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not only does it heal you 1, the Savage Wolf can be traded out, and if Himari really thinks it's a problem, that's a Razor Claw down for Himari.
And honestly, I think this is just Belphegor. Now, Himari might think, again, like, okay, I Belphegored last time, and he, like, eked me out just barely with just having a bunch of burn. Maybe I don't want to do that. But honestly,
he has less
again,
followers on board this time around.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, though, again, this time it's like, if you don't, what are you really doing? You know, are you playing this super long game against a deck that has a lot of burn?
This is the last game, by the way, right? Their decisions that they make, they have to be confident in because they're going to live with the consequences for the tournament.
That's right.
That's going to decide whether Himari sits in second or first, and if Sheepy is going to make this win on this Mysteria deck.
Oh. And he does take out the Carl with the Razor Claw. Interesting. So I think we're going to see the Halo Golem held, and maybe possibly just another Carl Evo here. Carl Evo with a Telescope, heal back 2, finish up the board. Feels pretty nice.
Yeah, can Telescope be played if the board is full?
No, that's true. That's true.
I think he's going to have to take this turn to Halo Golem.
But don't you want to save the burn until after that Vengeance is activated? I think you can get more use out of Halo Golem this turn.
I think so, but yeah, you're very board locked if you play Carl, though.
It's true.
I would still go for it. I would still go for the Carl.
I don't see any problem with it. I mean, it either forces another Razory Claw, an Evo, something to deal with it, and you don't have to really commit anything.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Okay. Similar situation. Doesn't want to use an Evolve on a 2-2, which makes sense.
Yep. And this constantly pressures Himari into playing out his resources. And again, the more time you give Sheepy, the more play points he's going to have to set up. And he has the Mysteria on 5 again.
Yeah, and he's got it in a very comfortable position here, too, especially if Himari is too afraid to play these Belphegors. These Belphegors don't come down, and even if they do, you know, the Mysteria is a fine option to just play and evolve right over the Belphegor.
Yep. So Mysteria comes down.
However, he might just do what we saw him do last time and just play Halo Golem face and just, like, try to burn his opponent out really quick.
Yeah. How does the situation grow worse if he... I think Mysteria playing out your play points better is good. Halo Golem can come down the next turn in conjunction with something like a Magic Missile.
I mean, it really depends. If he draws something like a Piercing Rune, I think he might just go in with the Halo Golem because he knows there's enough damage already. If he doesn't draw a burn spell, I think probably the Mysteria. Although, who knows? Sheepy has not been doing anything that we've been talking about. So
He has his own agenda.
That's right. I think it's a very solid play from Himari, pre-evoing this way. Plays around all the 3 damage effects in the deck that Sheepy has.
Let me share my wisdom.
We do get to see the Mysteria this time.
Yep. Definitely go for the Belphegor. Potential for 6 to face could be game ending in this matchup.
Yep.
Give it to me again.
And this, I think, will trigger a Sabrewer for Himari.
Yeah. Needs to be able to simultaneously clear board and do damage to face, which I think Himari is in a pretty good position of doing, and will have the Emerald on the turn after.
And still gets to stick with 2 followers with 4 defense, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Going into turn 6 against this possible Master Mage Levi.
I suppose this means that Emeralda is actually turned off for turn 7.
That's okay, though. You know, I think next turn you can Spiderweb Imp plus
Plus
Dark
the Dark General, yeah.
That way you can protect yourself while dealing damage. Just
That's
continue on with
pretty
this.
dangerous. Things are pretty dangerous here.
Is this where the face plan begins? No. Being defensive.
Yeah, I think this is such a bad spot. Magic Missile can finish things out here without having to go into the Bane.
To be afraid of.
The Gingerbread House.
The one of. Pretty good tech card here, being able to gain some more defense, along with Carl. Carl pretty hard to use now, though.
So if you go face for 6, that's your last evolution orb, and that's probably what's going to happen here.
I don't think you need to Evo here. I think you can save the Evo. Oh, wow. He's playing super defensively.
So that's really going to actually shut... I guess he has Belphegor?
Yep. Belphegor plus Dark General is also a nice play. This sets up a nice little, again, 4 defense board to try to play around everything that Sheepy's doing.
Carl can now do stuff, right? Oh.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a gingerbread. No. Okay, he is going to go with the Carl.
Gaze into the light.
Yes, gaining health.
Gaze into the light.
That would have been a perfect card to draw, you know, if it could evo into the spiderweb,
yes.
but unfortunately it cannot.
Which I think will be fine. I mean, the Carl is going to be at pretty high defense, right? You're going to be incented to run the Super. Wow, he did not evo at all. So 3 plus what? Oh, do you play the Caraboss?
Oh, so many good options. I think you do. I think Caraboss is a way safer option.
Yeah.
Because if you go Belphegor Dark General, you can get in 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. But then you're at the mercy of your opponent at that time. And Master Mage Levi can come down and just wreck pretty much everything. Caraboss is super safe. You're already at 8 play points. You don't really need to be above 8 play points. You can play a Belphegor. Now, Master Mage Levi is going to mess you up regardless. However, with this current board state,
there's no way to actually get rid of anything.
Not actually attacking that turn into the Spiderweb Imp is pretty hard to do. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how he gets around this.
Oh, no. The board state being locked. That's going to be real tough.
I mean, he can evolve the Carl into the Spiderweb Imp and then attack with the Alchemist to trade with it. But that's not going to be good enough. That's not a good enough turn.
All right.
Witness the power.
And the evolve on the Caraboss to further put it out of reach. Oh, he opens up the board space.
I love this. This means you cannot evo into that Spiderweb without playing something first.
That's good.
I like it.
I think he uses up all his magic missiles. Is there going to be a piercing rune off the top? Halo Golem is a choice. Is he going to try to get the situation? Yep, gingerbread.
Your time won't return.
I think Sheepy's playing scared now.
It's tough. He can't find his pace.
Yep. And Caraboss is just going to keep ticking away now.
So now you're at 9 play points, right? You have a turn where you can continue with the Belphegor into whatever plan, and you have a Savage Wolf on top of that. And an Angel of the Word.
Now
it's scary though. 6 damage on the board.
I think you have to Emeralda here. As weird as it feels, you're still Emeralding. You're still getting 3 damage in this turn. Emeralda, of course. Ooh, he's going to go the dangerous route. Oh, it pays off.
Wow.
Draws the Bloodbreaker brand.
And that's good. I mean, we talked about you have to be able to do face damage simultaneously with clearing board. So how much damage out of hand is available now? You have another Dark General. That's going to be 4.
This is it. If Sheepy does not heal this turn, he is going to lose.
Oh, no.
Does he play the Carl? He does. Okay. But that's not enough because...
Yeah, he can't wipe the Belphegor.
That's it.
That's it.
Himari.
Himari from behind.
From behind.
On loser's end.
Wow.
Oh, no. The double Dark General to close things out. There it is. Double Dark General with the Belphegor is going to be able to swing in, and the Mysteria deck could not make it work. Sheepy falls right at the end of the tournament on winner's side. And it is interesting, right? Because the first game, the first match, he definitely kind of went into the game, played against the Forestcraft deck, and identified, no, I can't do this, right? I wonder if he had banned Forest for the 2 matches.
I think he would have had a much better shot. Honestly, we know he can play against that Vengeance Blood deck. As a matter of fact, it's the only deck we saw.